Here are those word problems you worked on. Let's see the first one. So when Steve woke up, move this up a little bit. There you go. His temperature was 102, right? 2 hours later, it was 8 degrees colder. So there's a little change here, right? So I'm going to put start. This is my start. This is my change. What was the change? -8. And we're looking for the final. What's the final temperature, right? So if it was 102, and obviously there was a change of -8. So definitely went down, and we want to find his final temperature. So to find the final temperature, we're going to use what? So final, F for final equals the starting, which is 102, plus -8. So 102 plus -8 is definitely going to be a positive answer. And 102, if we go this, -8, right? It's going to be 1294. Is it 94? 12 minus 4, yeah, 94 degrees. So his final temperature was 94 degrees. Okay. An elevator is on the 20th floor. So this is our start. So let's just try to write this. 20 start. It goes down 11 floors. So to go down means, so he went down 11 floors. Then he went up 5 floors. Where's the elevator now? So remember, the final is the start plus the change and change. So we can use this setup. 20 and 19. It's going to be +9. And then +5. Although I don't think this is the problem. Okay, so yeah, I knew that. This is supposed to be 19. I don't know how it got to be 11. Alright, so let me change it. So where are you? You're 20th floor. You go down means negative, right? And it's 19 floors. And you're on the 20th floor, okay? And then you go up by 5. So there is your traveling. So if you're on the 20th floor, you go down 19 floors. Where do you end up? On the first floor. And then you decide to go 5 floors up. You are on the 6th floor. 3. Deep sea exploring ships pulling a diver at a rate of about 25 feet per minute. So, and I think this one I might use a drawing. Well, let's see. So, the diver is at 200 feet. How deep was a diver 10 minutes ago? So, let me just go like this, and let's make this the 0 on the surface of the water. Here is where he is right now. And he's at -200. That's where he is right now. But some time ago, he was at some location here because he's been going up, right? Every minute, he's been going up 25 feet. Another minute, 25 feet. Another minute, he goes 25 feet. And then he ended up here. So this is his final position, right? So it's been 10 minutes, and he ended up there. So I wanted to know what his starting position, right? So we know what the start. We don't know what the start is. We know what the final is, and we want to know. And we are going to calculate the change. The change is 25 feet per minute. So 10 minutes ago. So it's been climbing up 25 feet per minute. So in 1 minute he goes 25 feet. In 10 minutes, it means that he just came up 250 feet. So the change here is 250 feet. So it's been coming up. So it's a positive. And he's still underwater, right? So how deep was the diver? Where was he 10 minutes ago? He was all the way down here. So to find the start, how do we use the start? And again, if you look at your notes, you notice that to find the start, you're going to do the final. Take that out of the final minus the change, right? So the start is going to be the final, which is -200, minus 250. And if you like, you can change that condition. Well, you get -200 plus, and this becomes -250. So now we're adding two integers that are negative, negative and negative, so we know it's going to be a positive answer. And sorry, what did I just say? Negative, two negative integers, so you know the answer is going to be negative, and 200 plus 250 is going to be negative 450. So how deep was he 10 minutes ago? He was at negative 400 feet. And that makes sense. He was negative 400 feet, negative 450 feet underwater. So, and then as per minute, he's been climbing up. He's been going up and up and up and up and up. And in 10 minutes, he came up 250 feet. So where is he now? At negative 200. Four. It is 5 degrees outside. So it is 5 degrees, so that's your start. It will drop, so we know the drop is going to be negative 17. How cold will it get? So what's my final temperature? Yeah? So to find the final is start plus the change. So it's start. My starting position is 5 degrees plus negative 17, because it's going to go down. So imagine the number line. Let me make that 0, then make that 5. So we're at 5 degrees right now. It's going to go down, negative 17. So remember, imagine you're on the 5th floor and you have to go 17 floors down. Where would you end up? It's no different. So I know my answer is going to be negative, right? So plus 5, positive 5 minus negative 17. So my answer is going to be negative 12. So after it drops 17 degrees, my temperature is going to be negative 12 degrees. Okay. 5. Josie has $47 on her. Okay, so she has $47 left in her account. She writes a check for 59. So if you're writing a check for 59, what can I speak? Plus $55. You mean you're spending, right? So you're spending 55. So what is your final? So here's my start. Here's my change. Here's my final. Yeah. So if I have 47, I spend 55, right? And I'm going to represent that with the negative integer, negative 55. How much money do I have left? Well, to find the final, remember, it's 47, the start, whatever you start with, plus whatever the change is going to be, and that's going to be a negative change. So looks like my answer is going to be negative, and then if I find the difference between 55 and 47, I'm going to be, my account is going to be a negative 8. And that makes sense because I spent more than I had. 6, Joey's playing a game with a regular die. If the number turns up even, it will be 5 times the number. If that number comes up, he will gain 5 times. If it is odd, he will lose 5 times. So he tossed an a negative number, so I know it's going to be he tossed an odd number, so I know it's negative, right? And 3 times 10 is 30, so it's going to be negative 30, right? So it's going to be 3, and because he tossed a 3, it's going to be the loss that he's going to have is going to be 10 times bigger, so it's 3 times 10 is 30, and how do we represent a loss? It's a negative number. 7, so messy. It will be negative 12 tonight, so I'm telling you what my final temperature here, so start, change, and final. So I'm telling you that the final temperature tonight is going to be negative 20. The weatherman predicts it will be 25 more by tomorrow morning. Okay, so you know what? I take that back. So it's negative 12 tonight. And then it's going to be 25 warmer tomorrow, so it's going to have a change of 25, right? Positive. What's my temperature tomorrow? So final again is the final is start plus change. So what's my starting temperature? It's negative 12 plus it's going to go up by 25 degrees. And so what's my temperature tomorrow? Well, this is negative 12 plus positive 25. 25 has a bigger absolute value, so I know my answer is going to be positive. And the difference between 12 and 25 and 12 is 13. So it's going to be 13 degrees tomorrow. 8. The average temperature in the South Pole. Okay, South Pole is negative 5. the average temperature on the equator is 92. How much warmer is the temperature on the equator than the temperature of South Pole? So we want to change, right? So imagine that this is the start. This is the final. So what's the change? What's the difference between these two, right? So let me make a number line here. Here's 0. Here's the South Pole at negative 45. And here is the equator at 92, positive 92, yeah? So if you had to go from negative 45 all the way to 92, think about, in this, you can think about distance in this case. How much would you have to cover? Well, I know that from negative 45 to 0, I would have to cover 45 units. And from 0 to 92, I would have to cover 92 units, right? So if I add these two, I'm going to get 137. Or, let me just erase this. That's the final, that's the start. I'm missing the change, right? So how do we find the change? The change is the final minus the start. So the final is 92 minus the start, which is negative 45. And I get 92 plus, right? I'm going to change the subtraction to the addition. This is going to be the opposite, which is 45. And it's going to be 137. So how much warmer is the equator? The equator is 137 degrees warmer than the South Pole. That's crazy. 9. Felix reported coldest days, the coldest day on record on his town was 5 times colder than yesterday's temperature. So yesterday's temperature was negative 4. Right? So that's not even close to the coldest. The coldest day was 5 times colder than negative 4. So 5 times this, what's 5 times 4? 5 times 4 is 20, right? But because it's colder, it's negative 20, right? Because we're multiplying by a negative number here, right? So the answer is negative 20. 10. Scuba diver swam 96 feet under surface. It's pretty deep. He danced. So where is he? So he's starting. Let's the start of the story places him. Again, this is 0. This is him right now. Scuba diving. He goes up 49 feet. Notice that he doesn't go all to 0, so he's still underwater. So his starting position is 96 underwater. And then, so this is start. What's the change? He's going up, so the change is a positive change, so he's going to go up. And we want to know, what is his final position? Well, to find the final, we take the starting, which is negative 96, and we're going to add, right? Because in this case, add plus what? 40, positive 49. I don't need to write plus 49. So this integer has the bigger absolute value, so my answer is going to be negative. So 96 minus 49. 60 minus 9 is 7. 8 minus 4 is 4. So it's going to be 47. So he's still going to be here, right? After he goes up 49 feet, he's still going to be somewhere over here at negative 47. He's still underwater, by the way. Okay. 11. Wow, really? The temperature last night was negative 3, so the story starts here. It is right now 7 degrees, so this is the start. This is the final temperature. What was the change that occurred? Did it go up? Did it go down? Did it go up by how much, or did it go down by how much? Well, that's what you're trying to find out. And we know, just looking at the temperatures, that it was negative 3 and it's 7. Obviously, it went up, right? It went up, so it's a positive number here. So to find the change, right, we do final minus starting, right? So the final temperature was 7. We're going to subtract the start, which is negative 3, so it's minus 3. And the change is going to be 7. We're going to change that to plus. This is going to be 3. And the change in temperature was then 10 degrees. So it got warmer by 10 degrees. So again, number line always helps. This is 0. This is negative 3. and we know we ended up at 7. So see if that makes sense. Well, let's look at it this way. From 3 to 0, negative 3 to 0 is 3 units, right? From 0 to 7 is 7 units, so 3 plus 7, that makes sense, and that's what you get, 10 and positive 10. 12. I don't think that was the name of the guy, so just Lynn, right? Yeah, I made some corrections. 11, 12. Watching a football game, and I don't like these questions because not everybody watches football. Okay, after these plays, Lynn recorded 14. So in football, your objective is to move the ball forward. So if you move it forward, it's a positive number. If by some means you went backwards, it's because you're not doing your job. So that it's represented by a negative number. So there were 3 plays. The first play, 14. The second play, so let's just use this as a sum. So he went back. And the next last play, he gained 9 yards. So here, he gained, he lost, he gained. What the net gain was, the net gain or loss? Well, after all this, ended up in a positive territory or negative territory? Well, this is again number line. He was at 14, negative 7, which means he went down negative 7. So if you're 14 and you go down 7, means you're at 7 now, right? And then from 7, what happens? He went up 9. Right? So where does he end up? On 16. 14 plus negative 7 is 7. And then 7 plus 9 equals 16. 13. What is the balance as a result of a... What is it? 13. What is the balance as a result of having a credit? Ooh, again, not too sure how many of you know what a credit or debit is, but a credit means a positive amount in your account, and a debit, it means when something has been taken out of your account. So if you have a credit of $84, it means you have money in your account. So something happened, you got a credit of $84, maybe you deposit $84, and then you went and spent $29. So how much do you have left over? So 84 plus negative 29. 84 has a bigger absolute value, so my answer is going to be positive, and the difference between 84 and 29 is 575. No. Yes? 14 minus 9 is 5. 7 minus 2 is 55. So you still have 55 left over. 14. Freezing point of water in Fahrenheit. I should have changed it to Celsius. It's 32. Tim added potassium and found that the freezing water went down by 8. So you're 32. It's going to go down by 8, which is represented by negative 8. So what's the actual freezing point of water with the added potassium? So what's the start? It's going to be the change. It's going to be fine. So see that you can use this particular setup for a lot of the questions. So we're looking for the final temperature after a drop of 8. Well, final is what? The start plus the change. So the starting temperature was 32 plus a change of what? Negative 8. And you know that it's going to go down from 32 and you get 24. 15. The city budget is $8 million. It actually spends, what do you call the city's deficit? So the city has $8 million that they have calculated in their budget to spend. Right? So they actually spend $12 million, so that's represented by negative 12. So how much money here do they have left in their bank account? Well, they definitely overspent, right? So to find that final, it's going to be the start plus the change. So you start with 8 million. I'm just going to 8 million plus negative 12 million Well, it'd be nice to actually ever have that happen. You're gonna have, well, they definitely overspent, right? So negative is bigger absolute value, and the city's bank account is gonna have a negative balance of negative 4 million. Okay, which actually is not that bad. 16, the local movie theater reported losses of 475. Well, the theater has to pay for the popcorn, the lights, the video games, and all that stuff. The employees. So if they don't have enough people coming to watch, they can't cover. So every day they're losing $475. So let me just represent that with the integer negative 475. So on day one, they lost that much. On day two, nobody showed up again, and the theater lost another negative 475. And on day three, the theater lost another negative 475. So negative plus a negative plus a negative. So if it's all negative, you know your answer is going to be negative. And you can add 475 plus 475 plus 475, or you can just hopefully simply multiply that by 3, 15, 22, 1,420, negative 1,425. That's how much money they lost in 3 days. I don't have 17 for some reason. So 17 is the elevation of something, of Mount Everest. So let me just put this away. The elevator of Mount Everest is Mount Everest 29,028. The Dead Sea, so here's sea level, and then obviously somewhere else. This is the Dead Sea, and that is negative 485 feet below sea level, right? So this is 0, so imagine this is 0. And we're trying to find the difference in elevation between these 2 points, so in a second. So just think about, because it's distance, right? So from the bottom of the Dead Sea to 0, so this part right here, from the bottom of the Dead Sea to 0 is 485 feet, right? From 0, from the ground all the way to the top of the mountain, Mount Everest, is 29,000, right? The absolute value, we're measuring distance. So the difference between, not the difference, well, actually the difference between these two elevations. Okay, so we're going to add these two, 29,028 plus 485. Imagine if you have to go, if you started at this point, you have to walk all the way up there, you would have to go 13, 11, 5, 29,513 feet. That's how much you would have to climb. Okay. Pythagoras was born in 582 BC. Oh, here is your bonus word. Current book. A book I just finished reading. Pretty good book. Moving along. Pythagoras was born at 582 BC. So let me make a timeline at the bottom, just like a note. So here's year 0. This is considered BC, and this is considered AD. Pythagoras, he was born at 582, which we would consider negative 582. Isaac Newton was born in AD, which is 1643. So we're trying to, how many years apart were they born? Well, so you can do 2 things. You can find the absolute value of here. This is 582. From 0 to 1643 is obviously 1643. And you add those 2, and you can find how many years apart they were born. 1643 plus 582. You get 5, you get 12, you get 12 again. 2,225 years apart. Okay. And if you wanted to use the change equation. So change is final minus the start. So final is the Isaac Newton here, right? 1643 AD minus negative 582. Change this to a, what do you call addition? 1643 plus 582, and you get the same answer we got on the other side, 2225. So you can use both. Okay, the visual is nice too. Comes in very handy. And yay, last one, I think. Two golfers, and again, I don't like the question because I don't know why they have to put sports. First golfer had a score of +6, and the second golfer had a score of -3. So I think you can get. Let's take number line. Here's 0 +6. So this is golfer A and golfer B. -3. So how many more shots did the first golfer take? Well, this guy. So in golf, the less shots you take, the better your score. So having a plus number is not a good thing. So obviously this guy took many more shots than this guy, right? So we want to change here, right? Again, very easily you can find the distance. So from -3 to 0 is 3, from 0 to 6 is 6, so 3 plus 6 is 9, right? So golfer 8 took 9 more shots, and again, if you don't want, the visual, and you go straight to the equation, the change is your final minus the start. What was the final? The 6 guy, right? 6 minus -3. That's going to turn to 6 plus 3, which is the same thing, 9 shots. So the golfer A took 9 more shots than golfer B, making him the better player for that round. Okay, that's that.